Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CLX Foundry Live. We dive deep into somebody's build and we assemble it from the ground up. My name is DJ Blue PDX, and of course, joining me live from our very cold studios in Wichita, Kansas, it is our lead technical expert, Paul Steffens, and today's master builder, Hayden Hutchinson. Gentlemen, hello.
Hello.
So you got the long sleeves on. I see. It's is it as cold there as it is here? Probably colder.
It's okay today, but it's definitely, there's still snow on the ground.
Snowing last week.
There's still snow.
So
good grief. Well, I'll tell you what else is on the ground. Well, not on the ground technically. Right now it's sitting at a desk behind you. It is this month's giveaway build, and today is the very last day that you're going to have in order to be able to enter the giveaway for this incredible machine. Let's take a look at it right now. We teamed up with our friends over at XPG, A-Data, and of course Fantex, along with the folks at Beacon. Beacon are providing a Beacon mix crate and a Beacon mic for this PC giveaway bundle for the month of November. Now that will be drawn on Tuesday's show, which we're excited. We're so excited for that show. It's going to be a lot of fun to figure out who gets this. But look at that, absolutely brilliant. The new D30 fans on there, just it's an exquisitely unique build. I dig it a lot. Now, that being said, there's multiple different ways of entering. To find out how you can enter, type !GiveHorus, and the bot will give you the link and say, hey, here's how you do it. Now, you will notice that there's a spot down at the bottom of that in the form on Surf that allows you to get extra entries using codes. Now, you can find those codes all over the place. For starters, you can find them on potentially on our socials. That is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at CLX Gaming. You can find them sometimes in our Discord, discord.gg/CLX Gaming. You can find them on our channels on Twitch at CLX Gaming TV on Thursdays, on Tuesdays on our channel on Kick, which is CLX Gaming, and of course you can find them on my streams for both of those as well. And today I will have my last code to give out. So with that being said, gentlemen, we've got a project. We got a project for Alicia in New York. What are we going to do for her?
all right, so Alicia has configured one of our RAWs off our website. So starting out, we've got the Intel Core i7-14700KF for our processor. To cool that, we've got our CLX Quench 360 AIO. For our motherboard, we've got the ASRock Z690 Phantom Gaming 4. This is the DDR5 version. For our memory, we've got 2 sticks of Crucial 16 gigabyte DDR5 4800 speed. For our storage, we've got an A-Data 1 terabyte 700 gold NVMe M.2 drive. And for our video card, we've got an Asus RTX 4070. We've got 10 of our GameDS Aeolus case fans going in this, and it's all going to be powered by a GameDS Kratos M1 750 watt 80 plus bronze power supply.
Nice.
Yeah.
And thank you, Sasko. Can I say it? I guess I could say it. Because people are gonna start wondering what they're talking
Say
about.
it, don't spray it.
I finally got the announcement's finally here for the game that it's the first time I've voiced characters for a game that's actually the game has been published. And so that got announced today in the top 25 for PC gamer games in 2023. It's the most. Yeah, I think we're in 17th place.
Ooh,
so
nice.
really excited. I voiced 2 different characters for it. So, and I've been having to keep it under wraps for so long. Yeah, I'm super jazzed about this. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you can find out more about that. It's called Wild Bastards. There you go. Now, speaking of wild, let's talk about this case for a second. This is an L11 XL, which we know and we've played with a lot. But Paul, for those people who might not have seen this before, what are some of the biggest features of this case, and what makes it unique?
Yeah, so other than just the overall looks, the look of this is getting pretty popular in the PC world. My favorite thing about this case is we have 2 drive bays in the back. We'll show this to you real quick. Hayden's popping off that panel. So these 2 drive bays back here, these each one of them can house 2 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch drives. But what's really cool about these is they have cables coming out the back that plug in the SATA ports, so you can just slap a drive in and you don't have to worry about running in any cables. So really like the hot swappable bays on this.
Yeah, I found it useful for finally pulling data off of old drives that I've had held forever.
Yeah.
That surprisingly still work. Well, I'd have to get an adapter for 2 of them because they are SCSIs.
Nice.
They're old. They're just old. So, of course, if anybody's got a question, we also have a great opportunity for questions. I see we got James Rodriguez over on the red side, along with Mintum, or Mintum. Either way, welcome in, everybody. We got Whizzicles, PNG over here on the purples, and of course, Lord Fafner, Gagerator, and Zeroki, along with Silly Sam over on the green side. So, welcome in, everybody.
Good to see all you guys.
So, now, obviously, the motherboard that we're going to be using today is a... Where is it? There it is. It's an ASRock Z690 Phantom Gaming for DDR5. Now, this board, it's got some cool features. It has some great ports on it and accessibility. It comes with its own attachable I/O shield. Obviously, at the very top, we've got our PS2, which is basically what allows you to attach legacy gear like mice and keyboards and such. Down below there, you've got your two USB 2s. Below there, we've got a multitude of USB 3.1s and 3.2s, including the USB-C plus. You've also got a gigabit LAN, and then your audio jacks below that. Now, as for processors, though, we have got something great. This is an Intel Core i7 14700 KF. Tell us about this processor.
Yes, this is a 20-core, 28-thread processor that's broken down into 8 P cores, also known as performance cores, which have hyper-threading on them. And then we got 12 efficiency cores, also known as E cores. Got a base speed of 3.4, and it'll boost up to 5.6. Pretty solid processor here.
Nice. And of course, for those of you checking it out, we've got it on the purple side. Ivory has dropped the first code of the day, and it's Horus-6WDG. That is 6 weeks. Damn good.
He tried.
Or 6 wide dark garages.
Creepy.
That is for 150 people and worth 100 extra entries. Love it.
I think you've got
it's exclamation GiveHorus, Diplo. And anyone out there still using PS2 connectors? That's a good question, Radical. I don't know that there's a whole lot of opportunity for that. Do you guys ever run into that often, where you're utilizing your PS2 ports?
I want to.
I mean, like...
On my workstation.
Yeah, no. If we find like an old, like I found a really old keyboard in the warehouse, so I used that, and that needed a PS2, but no, there's really no use for it anymore. I mean, it's good to have it on there in case, you know, grandma upgrades her motherboard, but yeah.
Also true.
Really used.
Yeah, I remember when they started first coming out with USB keyboards. The USB had an adapter that you would plug onto it so that you could plug it into the PS2 port. If in case you didn't have enough USB ports, because like at the time, like there weren't a whole lot of them.
I've got about 500 of those adapters in the office next to me here. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, we used to have a ton of them. We used to use them a lot. Now we've got a bunch of extras.
Extras.
Right?
If you need one, let me know.
I might need one, Paul.
$20.
Well, there we go. There we go. Now, obviously, you saw what Hayden was doing with the bracket on the back. That's going to be for our CLX Quench 360 closed loop liquid cooler. That's going to be going on there. What are some things to keep in mind when you are putting together a closed loop liquid cooler?
You just want to make sure that your bag of hardware is labeled Intel or AMD, and then that your processor obviously matches. You don't want to put any AMD hardware on an Intel motherboard with a chip. So
yeah, I think
make
they
sure that
typically
matches.
Come with like 2 AMD versions right now. It's whatever the chipsets are current, so it'll change over time. But like right now, you're going to get an AM4 and AM5 one, and for Intel, you're going to probably get like a 1200 and a 1700
It used
one.
to be, at least for me, when I was first starting to build PCs, buying parts, like buying your AIO, it was literally labeled in the name of it itself.
Oh,
like,
really?
It was only for Intel, only for AMD.
Yeah.
But that obviously is not like that no more.
Yeah.
Pretty universal.
Whimsical says, remember the RCA And component cables before HDMI and DP? Yes. Yep. Your video, get the video out? Yeah. Those were interesting. But of course, then, you know, if you're using a CRT monitor, you had that big serial port, which is kind of wild.
Oh, yeah, the one that you'd like plug it in and screw it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because God forbid it accidentally come unplugged.
Uh-huh.
And if you trip over the cord, you rip out.
I'd rather my
every
monitor
solder thing
fall
on the
off my
motherboard.
desk than it come unplugged, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Let's see here. So, Ziku. The AMD numbers still confuse me. What is the highest AMD processor? According to the internet, it's not the latest one.
So, like, highest for gaming right now is going to be your Ryzen 9 7900 or 7950X. I think it's probably X3D as well.
I think so,
But
yeah.
they've got, you know, some. I don't think they're calling them Threadrippers anymore, right? They have some Epic EPYC that are like server processors that are really big. You know, but in the gaming world, it's the Ryzen 9 7950.
I still don't know all the numbers.
And that's the AM5 socket. We're at AM5
Yeah.
right now, but I would still consider AM4 to be current. It's kind of like how a lot of systems are still using DDR4, even though DDR5's out. Kind of like the same thing with AM4 and AM5.
It's going to be around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the interesting. I'm just looking over at the Threadrippers. These things are wild.
Yeah, they were awesome when they came out. I mean, they're still really good for the, like, if you need them. They're very specific to an application. It's not really cost effective to get one for gaming, but if you're doing a lot of, like, editing, processing, that type of stuff, then they really shine.
Yeah, DePoet says, my eyes are on the Threadripper 7970X, but even though it can game perfectly fine, you would get it for productivity.
Yeah, there you
That's
go. Yeah,
exactly
sounds
what
like
it's
you know
for.
what you need it for. And yeah, they will game fine. It's just,
You might honestly get better performance if you're just gaming at a different processor.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because those are meant for multitasking purposes, and like Paul was saying.
Let's see here. Toshio asks a great question. What's the best AIO for an AMD Ryzen 9 7950X3D?
So the best one that I could recommend now, there's a couple I could recommend. So first one would be the Fantex D30. That's one we really like here, but the Leon Lee Galahad's really good. What's the other one? I'm thinking about EK. Those guys all make a
EKs,
solid one.
Yeah, I can't remember the actual name of it. But
There's a
sounds
lot
like
of good options. Most AIOs are going to, even if you get them from whatever brand, they're usually going to come from Acetec, which puts out great AIOs. So,
What you don't want to do is go on Amazon and find a cheap one, a brand you've never heard of.
yeah. Don't get a brand
Yeah.
no one's ever heard of. But, yeah.
Let's see here. And Mintum asks a great question up on the red side. Pump below the top of the radiator?
Yeah, so in this config, we've obviously got our pump mounted here, and our radiator is going to be in the top of our system. Now, the general idea for that is if there's any air in the AIO, sometimes there'll be a little bit of air that just comes from the factory, like bleeding any system like your brakes. There's always going to be a small amount of air that won't come out. So the idea is if your radiator is above your pump, that air is going to stay in the radiator and won't go down to your pump. As most people know, air in your pump could cause issues.
Like overheating, which I've personally had some issues with.
Yeah. Could cavitate the pump, to use a
No,
nice
I literally
fancy term.
I had my PC on, took my radiator off with the computer on,
Uh-huh.
and like started flipping it upside down so I can get the air out.
Good. Yeah, there you go.
Like, I fixed it, but
With this is obviously a closed loop system since we're not opening it up at all, but in an open loop, when we build those here, we obviously have to get the air out of the system. And it's kind of fun to do that because you're rotating the system out, but since everything's clear, you can see where that air bubble is and kind of work.
it's fun
Work its
until the
way out.
PC is super heavy and you have to
Yeah, yeah,
flip it upside down.
right.
Oh, my goodness. Now, as far as if an open loop, it's something fairly similar. That's why the radiators are where they're at. Well, the liquid container, what's it called? The
Reservoir?
Yeah, it's either the reservoir,
There's the
distro
word I'm
plate.
looking
There's a
for.
couple different, depends on your build, but yeah.
Depending on what case, you can have a distro plate
Got it. I love the distro plate version of the O11. Yeah, and Moonlit View, hi, welcome in. It is, an AIO is an all-in-one liquid cooler. So, Paul, why don't you explain the differences between the different ways you can cool up a PC?
Yeah,
and what it
so
means?
we'll just start out with an AIO because that's what we're using here. That is referring to this radiator. We're mounting the fans to it right now, and just this radiator where the tubes go into our pump. So that is our AIO. It stands for all-in-one. It comes out of the box ready to go. So it's very easy to install. It can be kind of intimidating. You know, you hear, oh, I'm going to liquid cool my PC. I've never built one before. But pretty much every AIO out there comes with really good instructions and the right hardware. So I mean, it's just 4 screws into a back plate, and then we put these top screws on that, and we're good to go. The other way you can do it is with an open loop system, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier, and that's where we actually custom bend the tubes. We'll add in an actual reservoir, an actual pump. Sometimes it's a pump res combo. Sometimes use a distro plate. There's a lot more hardware that goes into those builds. They look fantastic, but it's kind of an all-day process to get one of them done.
Yeah. Okay. Proxy's in the house. Hello, welcome. So, obviously, we've got the fans going on. We're going to be using 10 different GameDS Aeolus M2 RGB fans. These are great. These are what I use in the back. They're a lot of fun. A little bit different than the ones that we've got on the giveaway build.
Yeah. Yeah, these Aeolus fans, these are great fans. They're kind of the standard one we use around here. They do come in black or white. Obviously, we have the black today, but if you wanted like an all-white build, we do offer them in white.
One thing to note, I believe we've already installed on the far side, and that is, because we were in conversations about stuff, the memory for the build is, we've got 2 16 gig sticks of Crucial DDR5 4800, a black, that comes in black. And of course, our storage is going to be on a 1 terabyte 8 data 700 gold NVMe M.2, which plugs directly into the board. Things play so fast when it's like that. Oh my goodness.
It is a lifesaver.
It really is. And yeah, Nike, open loop is the one where you do change the fluid every so often. I don't know, maybe every year or 2, would you say, Hayden, on an open loop build? Not super often, but yep.
They're just a little more maintenance.
And finally gave in, says, would you ever do an open loop build on stream? And as Wizzaclose mentioned, yes, we have done it before. We are excited to do another one. It takes a little bit of prepping and planning because it's a longer process.
Yeah, we the ones that we did before, I think what we did was we pre-bent our tubes. And I don't know if we did anything else. I mean, we even put the block on the video card on stream.
I think we did, yeah.
So the bending of the tubes is a long part of the process of an open loop because you take a lot of measurements and you got to heat the tube up, bend it, and then cut it and do a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, it can be like an 8 to 10 hour long build depending on the complexity of the system. So
I've done a build for an entire week just because, you know, a customer requests something different that we don't normally do, and can be
so. And I'm gonna go ahead and post this link in the chat. This is actually the YouTube link for that open loop episode. Of course, you can find all of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, and that is youtube.com/CLXgaming. Just type that in and you'll get right there. But yeah, if you ever want to take a peek at that, head on over and check it out. It's good stuff.
Yeah, we do offer all sorts of different ways to open loop. So you can do a loop just on your CPU and then leave your GPU just how it comes out of the box, or you can do them both on the same loop where you do your CPU and GPU, or you can do two totally separate different loops, one for your CPU and one for your GPU. And those are really cool because you get 2 different colors of fluid.
If you want. Most people usually they request 2 different colors, which always looks sick.
Yeah, if you can do 2 different colors, it looks cool.
We had that one guy who did the UV black light.
Yeah, we had a guy do UV fluid, so we got black lights for his system, and that was really, I think we even had UV fittings for it as well. We did. Yeah, it was cool.
Part of me wishes that we had just gone ahead and done an open loop for mine and switched the case out to the distro plate, but that's next time.
Yeah.
That's your next time,
build.
BJ.
Huh?
That's the next time.
when the streaming PC dies.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to come build it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, bro, I would be down for that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly.
Fun.
Yeah, and Necro's right. There is absolutely nothing wrong with cooling with fan cooling. Your system as well. They've got some incredible options for fan cooling out there. So,
yeah, you can definitely go with air cooling. There's a lot of good third-party air coolers that are quite a big upgrade from just the stock fan that comes with some of the CPUs. So, yeah.
You can find air coolers that are like better than 120 AIOs. Maybe 240. I'm not too sure.
Approaching a 240. And what we're talking about there is the actual size of this radiator. So this is a 360 because we got 3 120 millimeter fans on here. So when we're talking about a 120, 240, and 360, a 120 radiator is quite a bit smaller. You know, just one fan, 240s too. Then obviously you've got 360. They do offer them in 140 millimeter size. It's a little bit bigger of a case fan size, 140, 280, and so on. But 120 to 360 is the most common.
We have a question coming in from the red side, and that is from Mintum or Mintum 12. You know what? Hi. It says, for your average person, what SSD would you recommend? Do you have to spend extra for big brand names? Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. So right now, I mean, it's very economical to go with a 1 terabyte. If you can do an NVMe M.2 drive, like what we used here, do that. It's the fastest drives out there. Samsung and Seagate and Kingston, there's a bunch of brands out there that have extremely high-end, very fast M.2 drives that are pretty pricey. However, if you just go with just a standard, all those companies and a bunch of others just make standard 1 terabyte drives that are relatively cheap as well. That's what I would go with, because even if it's the slowest NVMe drive, that's still going to be wicked fast.
I know for Black Friday, obviously it's over now, but Kingston and like Western Digital had their M.2s on sale.
Yeah.
And I feel like those are really, really good.
I feel like you can get a 1 terabyte for $50 or something around there now.
I think the prices of M.2s have went down.
I got a couple Western Digital Black terabyte NVMe's back at, I think it was during Prime Days.
Okay,
Nice.
What was it, like? It was $40 or $50.
Yeah,
I think so.
And that's their, obviously you said the Western Digital Black, that's their fast one, so.
Yeah. And to jump up top back up to the poets over on Twitch, it says cooling on the RTX 4090 is so good that I did a loop just for Intel 13900KS and left the GPU on air.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And UV is old school, but it's great stuff. It's great stuff. So Nike does bring up a good question. Is it required to have an AIO? Or liquid cooling for higher end CPUs?
So pretty much.
I feel like once you get past a certain threshold, you're gonna want an AIO.
Like once you get into i7, i9, Ryzen 7, Ryzen 9, that's when we probably wouldn't build a computer without an AIO at that point. And we would make it a bare minimum be a 240 on that. Now that being said, if you really wanted to stay air cooling, you could find one that would cool it online,
really
but you wouldn't get as much performance out of it as you would if you got a 360 AIO.
Yeah. Yep. Eliza Potato, welcome in. Glad to have you here. Glad it's your first time. Let's also see. Worried about tearing the motherboard apart if I moved when I used them. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, decent air coolers they're big. Like, we saw some massive air coolers in Dallas when we were down there that I had never seen anything like it before. It was really impressive. But, yeah, doing some things. Hanging 4 to 5 inches off the board. And they were. So in those instances, Paul, when you've got one of those really large industrial style air coolers with the radiator and a fan, how do they keep them from tearing off, ripping your CPU off the board?
Yeah, so really that comes down to the mounting hardware that comes with them. That being said, if you have a giant cooler on your board, an air cooler, I would be careful in moving it around. I've seen here, this was many, many years ago before liquid cooling was just normal. We had these giant coolers that we were putting, and these were on like 78 LMT motherboards, like old stuff, and they were cracking the actual CPU socket. in shipping.
Wasn't it QA
So,
or shipping?
yeah, it was in shipping,
Okay.
yeah. So, they function fine here, but, that package being handled by a UPS or FedEx driver or whoever and traveling across the country, they did break. So if you have a giant one on there, be careful when you're moving it.
Yeah.
But the everyday use and like just moving it like from this desk to a table over there, it'll be fine.
I will say, like, if you're going to spend the money and get a nice, decent air cooler, the hardware coming with it is going to ensure that it's going to stay to the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, this cracking motherboard sockets, this was many years ago.
Resoface has a great question coming in. Have you ever destroyed a motherboard trying to do a custom water cooling build?
Hayden?
I haven't destroyed one personally, but I've received some stuff back from, like, a shipping company. Just, it somehow got damaged in shipping, and the motherboard was sitting in, liquid. But me personally, no. I try to take my time and be careful.
Now, do you ship it with the liquid already in it, or do you?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we do ship it with the liquid in it, and then typically you're going to get some extra fluid in like a fill bottle or something, and that way after the system runs, sometimes you'll see that fluid level drop down just a little bit, and that way you can fill it back up. It's always pretty easy to fill these up. There's usually just like a set screw at the top of the mono block or the reservoir or whatever you've got going on. So they're very easy to fill.
Yeah, and then, like,
Yeah, and
once they're
Go ahead.
built, open loops in particular, if I'm doing it or someone else is doing it, once it gets tested and all that, we custom cut some foam and pack it super tight. So, like, when it does ship, there's not going to be any moving around of tubes or anything, because obviously there has to be something to protect
Yeah,
the
like
internals.
for most of our systems, we have this packing material that's Instapack, so it pops, the chemicals mix, and it like fills, around, it fills up all the empty space, holds the GPU and the other stuff in place. But like Hayden said, with the open loops, we like hand cut out
Yeah.
foam that's specifically measured and designed to hold every tube in place. It looks really good, nice when they get done.
I actually have a picture.
Yeah.
There you go. You can put it in Discord
Yeah.
if we want after the stream.
I'll show it.
And where is the? I'm looking for the one with the distro plate. That is that's an 11. That's an 11 XL.
Yep, it's this case right here.
Yeah.
The front panel, this area is where your distro plate comes. So we actually screw it in here, kind of on the inside. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have
The
like
black one, the
complete.
black version of that case is so gorgeous. Let's see here. I have one of my DDR3 systems scares the shiznit out of me. Oh, got it. Got it. I hear you on that one. What you would think as the boards get older, they would get more brittle. I mean,
They stay pretty durable.
yeah.
A few years back, me and this other guy here, he doesn't work here anymore, but we had a really old motherboard, and I thought you could just crack a motherboard in half, and I couldn't get it. I was trying. I had it like bent, and I was stepping on it, and this dude was like jacked, and he couldn't even get it. We just like bent it. Couldn't even get the PCB to like crack in half, so they're pretty durable.
Mackenzie asks, has a great question. It says, I'm really poor and want a high-powered PC for gaming and digital drawing. What is the best option for dirt cheap? Or can you just let me win the giveaway?
Yeah.
Well, we can't let you win the giveaway, but we do wish you the best of luck on that.
Yeah. We hope you win the giveaway. So for gaming, you can get a pretty good quality PC that's going to run, most titles at 1080 for fairly cheap. The getting into the drawing and the rendering, that's when you do kind of have to spend a little bit more money. But you could probably minimum put something together for $1,000, maybe $1,500. That would be very solid for that. Once you start getting into the designing and the rendering and everything, you're going to spend a lot more on your processor, and that's where the price goes up. And you want more memory too, obviously.
Unless you're going to want to do your digital media separately from your PC.
Yeah.
We just picked up an iPad.
There you go.
$300. Black Friday deal.
Oh, wow.
I already have
Wow.
an iPad, but it was
Nice.
for my girlfriend. But yeah.
And Wally, yes, We can confirm that Zach is not Hayden and Hayden is not Zach. We have had them both in the same space, both here on the show, and of course, when we were all together down in Dallas for DreamHack back in June, which was a lot of fun. Or was it April?
It was June.
I don't remember.
It was June. Yeah, it was
June
June.
or July.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Good stuff. You have no references?
What's up?
Yeah,
Proxy?
so, and speaking of which, of all things that need to be gauged, let's go ahead and gauge the fact that we've got 200 people who are going to get a code for 100 entries, and that is for Horus V2PV, virtually 2 people forever. I don't think that's a word, but whatever. There we go. 200 people. Get it good. Here we go. Yes, Ivory is the keeper of all the keys. Looking forward to Atlanta DreamHack. So am I. I'm really hoping I get to go. That would be awesome. Did a quick calculation and guessing number of entrants and average entries in each code gives me a whopping 0.1% increase in chance. First of all, I want to congratulate you on even knowing how to put that together and calculate that, because that is just math that's way over my head. Way over my head. It's not cheap to be cool, and it's not cool to be cheap. Well, I mean, but yeah, your Linux server is up. Nice. I'm glad to hear that, dude. Scott wins, everybody. We spent yesterday afternoon for a while running around with Winter 501st in Dying Light 2 resource gathering, because we ran out of materials repairing our weapons while fighting. And so, yeah, it was kind of wild. It was fun though. So, yep. Where's my invite? Wait, hold on. Do you play Dying Light 2, Ivory? Bro, if you play Dying Light 2, you are more than welcome to come kick it with us. It's a lot of fun. I love zombie games, and Dying Light and Dying Light 2 are definitely 2 incredible games. And oh, give me the modded MC. Got it. There we go.
Sorry, Jason.
I yearn for the mines.
Oh, you want modded Minecraft? Just let me know. I already have a server.
Because of the Linux server? Yeah. All right. Now, one of the cool things about this case you can see here is that there's a tray that Hayden is going to be screwing everything into. This allows for the lower fan elements to just be popped on. They can be popped off if necessary.
Yeah, this bottom tray is really handy.
Now we've got obviously 10 fans going into this. We will have 6 intakes, 4 outtakes, 4 exhaust fans, 3 of which are going to be exhausting through the radiator. And we talk about this periodically. Actually, I bring it up far too often probably, but that does create what's called a positive pressure system. And Paul, what are some great examples of reasons that is, if you can manage it, is a good thing to keep in mind?
Yeah, so positive pressure system, like you said, DJ, just means you've got more intake fans than exhaust, so more air coming into your system than leaving it. And what that does is make sure that all the air coming in is going through the proper channels, so it's hitting all your dust filters and stuff like that. If you have your system in a negative pressure setup, where you've got more air leaving than you do coming in, it creates a vacuum inside your system, and dust can get in all the little cracks and crevices, so that's why we recommend going with a positive pressure.
And I can personally attest to that. I look at it every time that we have a show, just because I want to make sure and see if it's finally the day that I'll need to dust it. And there's still not a speck of dust in my system at all.
Nice.
Let's see here. I love playing modded Minecraft. I like picking the mods individually instead of using a mod pack. I wish I enjoyed Minecraft. I wish I did.
So good.
It's
Scott,
just,
how
for
much
whatever reason,
storage are you using for your server?
Yeah, good question. Scott, how much storage? I think he said he had 8 terabyte. I might be wrong.
I found a good deal on Marketplace, and I have 28 terabytes.
28?
Nice.
Like 20 single 8 terabytes or one 28 drive?
No, single. So
Single
like
8? That's awesome.
not single 8. Sorry, I have like 4 or 3 8 terabyte hard drives, and then
Dang.
I don't know. I had it all added up, and I can't remember how it is.
Yeah.
But there's 5 drives
A
total.
ton.
There's 5 drives total.
Infinite space.
Oh wow, the poet's over here with the literally NASA level behavior. My server NAS uses 6 8 terabyte drives in a RAID 6 array, and yes, I water cooled it too. I
Nice.
would hope so. Now, are those 8 terabyte drives, or are they M.2 solid states?
They're hard drives.
Again,
I went the cheap
Okay,
route.
they're hard drives because I'm still. I know that Paul's explained RAID before.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
did not set it up. I'm not going to.
it's back and forth, right? It's data gets shared back and forth, so it's faster access.
The way my server set up is not really needed for RAID.
Nice.
I'm gonna risk it. I hope they don't die on me.
That was hard for my big
Risk it?
fingers.
Huh?
That was kind of hard for my
Risk it.
big
Yeah.
fingers to get that in there. I just did the one screw, so it's in there.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
I have Scott. By the way, they asked how big is your server? What kind of storage you got on there? And like I thought having a 4 terabyte M.2 was huge, but geez, 6 8 terabyte drives, that's wild.
You gotta have all the storage, just in case.
So many
Now-
terabytes.
The one thing that we did install a little bit ago, as you can see down on the lower right-hand side below those hot swap bays, is our 750 watt Game DS Kratos M1 80 Plus bronze power supply. Paul, what can you tell us about that power supply?
So this is a, like you said, 750 watt 80 plus bronze non-modular power supply. So you can see we're going to have a little bit more fun doing the cable management on this. So right here, these are all the cables coming out of our power supply. We won't end up using all of these for this build, so Hayden will plug in what he needs, and then we'll bundle up the rest nice and neat, put a zip tie around them, and we can tuck them right in here, right in front of this power supply. So that's what we'll be doing. If this was a modular power supply, it would just be that brick, and all the cables would be separate. So that's one of the advantages of going with modular, but
Yep.
non-modular does save you some money without sacrificing performance, which is nice.
Definitely does.
So.
You're just using it to, so yeah, Scott's just using his to host games and store big files, so.
Yeah. Mine's
Although-
home media server, so I have Plex, and then also it's in the living room, so whenever we want to do some emulation, it's
Nice.
all ready.
Emily's here, and Emily asks, did I miss a code yet? Well, potentially, but you know what? There's a brand new one in the in the chat. It is Horus-Q. No, I'm sorry. That is O42T. O42T. Then Tango.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, the fun part.
Okay. Now we're getting out our fan controllers. Yeah, 4-2. Oh, 4-2-T. Oscar, 4-2 Tango. That is for 200 people to get 100 entries. Yeah, everybody's over here comparing their notes. How many entries do you have? Trade secret. Yes, yes.
Me and Paul already won the giveaway. We're splitting the PC.
Splitting it halfway.
Cutting it half.
Yep. Someone gets the top half, the other person
Yep.
gets the bottom half.
Will it turn on? No.
Nope. You're gonna have to know a welder.
Right? My gosh. I thought I know I closed the windows down here. It is absolutely freezing in my basement. What kind of divorce is that cuts PCs in half? Yep.
The
Well,
worst
I mean,
kind.
yeah, it's the most unfortunate kind.
You can have the top half every other weekend.
Red says, why do you require an account? Sorry?
Count for what?
You mean for the giveaway, Sambit? I just want to be sure I'm understanding what this is referencing. Would love to see a build with all server fans so it can take off like a jet. Pro, can you imagine that? It's basically it turns into just a small drone. Like that thing will just float.
Those server fans are pretty wild.
Those fans get so.
When are you giving? Nayabe asks, when are you giving away the PC? That is going to happen. We're going to make that announcement on Tuesday's show, which will be a lot of fun. Tuesday's show. Let's see here. And why do you have to have an X account? Oh, a Twitter account. I refuse to call it X. Just because that's where it's run through. So it's a Surf thing. That's something that Surf, you'd have to ask Surf. So got it. Yep, there we go. When you giving a yeah. Yep. So Tuesday's show starts at 11 a.m. Pacific. It'll be, I believe, on just like this. We'll be focused over on the green side, though. But either way, you'll be able to see and check out. Hey, here we go. It'll be fun. I'm excited. We'll do that probably around the middle of the show. So, Moonlit asks, anyone in chat who does not own a PC? That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure that there's got to be several people who are just console people. You can't wait for your build to come? Oh, Heedless, that's right. You ordered one, didn't you? Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Yeah. See, look at that. People don't have PCs. Don't have PCs yet. But one of you may very well be having that change very, very soon. You're just like 9 years old? Yeah. That would be awesome. Yeah. Playing games on cooked 5-year-old gaming laptop. Yep, here we go.
I emulated Windows on a MacBook for 5 years before I had a PC.
Was it a MacBook with a PowerPC processor, or was it with an Intel?
It was an Intel i5.
God, that thing must have been hot as hell.
8 gigs of RAM. It got to the point where I had to download GeForce Now, sign up for an account, and use their emulated servers to play my games. It's fun. I had to wait in a queue before I wanted to play a game. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
We got Honey Badger 2100 over here on the green side. Says, what's your favorite part about building the PC?
Mine's probably putting the motherboard together. Putting the motherboard together, putting it in the PC. Least favorite part is plugging everything in and making it look nice.
Making the tie-up look good.
That's your favorite part?
Another favorite, depending on.
See, Hayden's skilled.
Depending on the build.
Yeah.
Mine is if it turns on.
Yeah. I like to watch it. I like to watch it catch on fire.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, I like turning it on and the smoke just.
Just everything starts sparking. Frame Gaming asks, can you make a GPU only giveaway? I don't.
Have to ask Ivory about that.
That's not.
That's that is far above. That is way above our heads on the pay grade level.
If he lets us, we will.
So, Crovidia says, I have a gaming laptop, but my graphics card or something is messed up and likes to crash when I'm gaming.
Yeah, it could be a heat issue. That's a common problem with laptops, especially when they age. There's a lot of dust in there that can be hard to get out. So your PC will obviously, or your laptop will shut itself down if it gets too hot. So
you can try replacing thermal pads and thermal paste on it, but
they make these like things. They're just kind of like a rectangle with a bunch of built-in fans that you just set your laptop on, and that helps.
Cooling station?
Yeah, it's like a cooling board. I don't know. It's a really simple thing. They just put a bunch of 120 mil fans in like a plastic enclosure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the one thing I will say is, because I remember whenever I would be up at in Redmond at the on campus when I was working for Microsoft, it was easier to cut through the server room to get out to where the elevators were to go down to the cafeteria area. And so, because otherwise you had to walk all the way around this stuff, so we would just open the door and walk through. Some of the loudest fans I have ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
But they pushed so much, like the airflow in there was wild.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely wild.
You don't need an air conditioner. Just get a server.
Yep. Disfigured Z says, how do you get a job like this? Do you need a degree, or have you been trying to look for a job to build PCs? Good question.
So I don't have a degree. Do you have a degree, Hayden? No, we don't have degrees. Yeah, we just, I mean, we both just started in as entry-level employees and just been here for a while now. So, yeah, luckily it was here in Wichita where I live. So, you know,
Paul obviously has more years on me.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, I mean, we hire people that don't even have any computer knowledge at all. We obviously, you know, like it if you're into gaming, because a lot of us here are and kind of know that world. But sometimes we prefer to bring on builders that haven't built a PC before, because then we can show them how we like to have them built in a professional way, rather than someone coming in thinking they know everything, and that can kind of cause some issues.
I've trained people who like did not know anything.
Yeah.
And obviously now they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always tell people, if you haven't built a PC before, you work here for a week, you'll be able to build anything.
Yeah. Oh, Meg says, there's hope for me. Yeah, and I agree. The statement from it's cheaper than a whole PC. It depends sometimes. Mm-hmm. Emily, I'm not sure that we can answer that question, to be honest. The question is, how much does a job like this normally pay, like from entry level to where you are now?
Yeah, it depends on experience and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just a little bit all over.
Oh, God. One of my old PCs with a 1050 GT was making a noise like a car engine. Oh, my God. That it might have thrown a bearing, or, man, when bearing pops on those things or cable touches one of the fans, it just, good Lord.
We had cases, this was way long ago, that when you started them up, they'd sound like a car exhaust. Like there was a speaker in the case that would make it sound like you were starting a car. I don't know if anybody remembers those. I forget which company that was that made those cases. I want to say Thermaltake, but it wasn't Thermaltake.
But the car was like electric.
It was a Ferrari.
A Ferrari, right?
Yep, because it was something about like Ferrari was in the model of the case. Or
I
something like
found someone on Reddit who had a video of their setup from back when.
Yeah.
He had that case.
Yeah.
And
they came in crazy colors.
Yeah.
We had them.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's you had a Dell XPS. So Mintum from the red side said we had a Dell XPS laptop spontaneously combust. It had a 1050 Ti, and I was running a hair sim in Blender. I don't know what I expected. Oh God, in Blender? Jeez. Yeah, that's. I'm really sorry to hear about that, but also, Mike, Blender is a complex, resource-heavy, beautiful development tool. But wow, yeah. Philly Q, welcome in. Hello. Vroom vroom. Ivory, there we go. Yes. So, speaking of things that go fast and speedy, this is going to go fast for everybody because it is an unlimited code, Horus-GDBX. That is Golf Delta Bravo X-Ray. Do. Okay, now we're getting all of our cables in there. So let's talk a little bit about best practices when it comes to how you sort your cables and how you prefer to identify what gets bundled with what.
Well, I like to start with my fan wires first and get them plugged into the fan controller box. And then from there, I start with my case cables, like my 3.0, USB 3.0, my 2.0, any cable that gets plugged into the motherboard. and then I'll go power supply cables. So I try to keep everything in groups so that when I tie it up, it stays in those groups and not make a mess.
Scott Wins brings up a wow. I didn't even know that could happen. Scott Wins one was playing advanced. It says Advanced Warfare melted the GPU on my PS3. I didn't even know they could do that to a PS3. My God. And for Shadow of Death says can someone repeat the code? It was Horus -GDBX Golf Delta Bravo X-Ray. Goddamn baby xylophone. There we go. Which company is making the best motherboards? Ooh, that's a good question, Frame. I in my opinion, I love Asus, the ROG Strix series, but that's just me. Paul? Thoughts?
Yeah, so there's a few companies that put out really solid stuff. So you've obviously got Asus, ASRock, MSI. I'm sure there's a few others I'm forgetting about, but all three of those have really solid motherboards. They each have like an entry level board, a mid tier, and then an extremely high end. ASRock is a company that when I first started building PCs, they weren't really known for like a good quality product. They were always kind of weird and acting up, but they have grown so much over the years. I mean, it's probably been, I don't know, over the last 5 to 10 years, they have just changed my opinion of them so much where I prefer an ASRock board now. Like that's what I use in my personal rig. So, but you can't go wrong with Asus, ASRock, MSI, any of those big name guys. They all put out quality stuff now.
Yeah, I agree with Paul personally.
Gigabyte's another one. When I first started, Gigabyte was like the main boards that we were using. They were really good quality. We had a couple Foxcons back in the day. I don't really think they're around anymore. I think the company's around, but probably not making motherboards. So yeah, Gigabyte's another solid brand.
Yeah.
Any of those big name brands are going to be, they're going to have something for
Gigabyte,
everyone.
Aorus. Yeah, good stuff over there. Disfigured C says, I built my PC and it took me a day and a half and I gave up on cable management. Pretty sure everyone did with their first build. You are absolutely correct.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't know about you, but I've told this story before, but my very first build was in this this square case. It was, I would say it's a mini ATX. No, it was it was a small motherboard. Didn't have much for slots, but it worked. I had a motherboard that had an IO shield that I had to pop in. I put the motherboard in, forgot that there was a IO shield. So then I had to pull it out. Then I had to put it back in, except for I didn't pinch back the little tabs on it. Stuck that in there. Realized, oh my God, I can't have this like this. So I pulled it back out, put all the things back in, and then decided, okay, now last thing to do, put in the power supply. And I hadn't run any cables, and so it's just a hodgepodge of disastrous crap in there. And I've never been like when I started hosting the show, I was immediately annoyed with myself and embarrassed because I realized I have I have failed at this multiple times. Yeah, it took me 6.5 hours to build that darn thing, and it was very, very minimal. So,
yeah, I think in my first couple builds, I didn't even install my hard drives. I just plugged them in and laid them inside the case.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. And yes, Kick Pulver, it is Horus GDBX Golf Delta Bravo X-Ray. And yeah, no, it's I was Navy. So one of the things that I think will stick with me forever is the Naval Phonetic Alphabet. Chili says, can vouch for ASRock. Currently have a motherboard from them. Works great for years. That is excellent to hear. Yeah, I'm still surprised. So Scott Wins mentioned that the game ran like crap back on the PS3. The game ran like crap, and while playing it, artifacting started happening, and then I smelled burning, and then the PS3 just quit working. Took it apart, and the GPU of the PS3 just cooked itself. That sucks.
Wasn't that game like made on new gen at the time and second gen, like PS4 and Xbox One? Because I know Black Ops 1, or not Black Ops 1, Black Ops 3 came out. I bought it for the Xbox 360 and it looked horrible because new gen consoles were out and that's what it was meant for. I just can't remember if Advanced Warfare was like that.
Chile says CLX requires all their workers and hosts to practice 4 hours of cable management daily to upkeep standards. Jeez, that could be hilarious and terrifying. Britrix asks a good question. Does CLX have an in-store shop in Wichita, or is it all online ordering?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've kind of moved away from our retail space in our building. We have like a big building in Wichita that has kind of a front retail area. Now it's not really being used right now, but if you're local, you can definitely come by. We've got a couple sales guys up front that can help you out and hook you up with whatever you need, get you pricing or quotes or stuff like that. So it's not like a big retail store space, but we definitely you can come in and talk to one of our sales guys. And the studio, like our retail space, is like right out there, so you'd see the studio if you walked in here.
Frame Gaming does have a great question here. Lord Arian, it's an Intel Core i7 14700 KF. Frame Gaming asks, is there a big difference from dual fan or triple fans on GPUs?
That's a good question. So as long as you've got, so let's say like we've got a 4070 here, we're getting this out of the box right now. This is a dual fan. If we had another 4070 that was a triple fan, there really isn't going to be a huge difference between those. Obviously the triple fan is going to cool a little bit better, but as far as frame rate in games, 4070 to 4070, be it 2 fan or 3 fan, they're going to be very, very similar. I don't even know if I would say you'd get a bump in frames across one or the other. So.
What's your favorite packaging?
Yeah, this packaging cracks me up every time. It's just like ground beef at the deli. That's all I think of. Like, oh, look at this ribeye right here.
All right. So we've got our ground beef graphics card, and that is like 4070, as you mentioned.
All tight.
Like that used to be how I. You'd get your RMAs for phones or things like that in packaging like that.
Oh yeah.
But it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's a very stable environment for it to be in. Mm-hmm. It's not going anywhere. Let's see here. Better frame pacing. Teddy Bear Killer says you might get better frame pacing consistency. So. Yes, Disfigured Z, they are in Wichita,
Just
Kansas.
one cable?
Yeah. Yes, 1/8 pin.
47 is the dream right now. Games and AV1 streaming. Yes. Whizzicles mentions, I say, although I had issues with my Zotac card, it came with all the 8-pin power cables and stuff. It was nice. Nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. Now, as far as cards go, this obviously is a little bit of a different form factor than some of the other cards, shorter than them. From a weight standpoint, how does that feel in your hands?
It's pretty light.
So are we going to need a anti-sag bracket of any kind?
No, we're not going to need any.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, ASMR peel? I know, right? And you guys get a better version of it. Because the three of us are all talking via Discord, whereas you guys get the actual mics.
You get the nice mic. Our viewers get the nice one. DJ gets my funky Bluetooth that sometimes makes me sound like a robot and cuts out every now and then.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see here. I'd rather wait for the 50 series. I'm sure they will be much better on Games Plus AV1 streaming. Like, I'll be fair, I was really jonesing for a white 4090, but the 3090 is fantastic. So I think I'll wait till the 50 series and then upgrade from there.
Crying on my 1080 Ti.
Yeah, right. I'm still rocking the 2080 Super, so
my upgrade's gonna be the 2080 Ti.
Yeah.
No, if I can get my hands on a good deal.
I'm looking at again. This PC that I got. Well, actually, it's funny because this PC, my streaming PC, Robitech and I built this on his show back in 2019. I want to say. Yeah, 2019, fall of 2019, which is wild because I can't believe it's that old.
Yeah.
You went from Wizkle says I went from a Radeon 5700 non-XT to a 3070 Ti, and it was a big difference. Oh God, yeah, I can imagine. I went from a 2070 on my old gaming system up to a 3090 OC, and I mean, night and day difference. Also, plus you add the extra RAM in there, you add your M.2s, and it all helps to really streamline the gaming experience. I'm always fascinated when I load in so quickly to games. It's kind of bonkers. Speaking of things that are bonkers, let's take a look at what the front of this case has to offer. Paul, what kind of features do we have on those ports right there?
Yeah, so we've obviously got our power reset button here. Then we've got 2 USBs, headset and mic, USB Type-C, and a couple other buttons for our color controls. And then down here at the bottom, this kind of gets missed. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera. We've got 2 more USB ports down here. So you got a total of 5 USBs up front and a headset and mic.
Up front alone.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's wild. And so to help out with all the things that you're seeing right here, I would love to tell you all about how you can get, you went from a 1050 Ti to a 3060 Ti, your eyes almost popped out of your head. I can definitely imagine why. So with that being said, let's take a look at how you can get your hands on the next PC of your dreams. At CLX Gaming, gaming.com, we make it as easy as possible for you to get something that's going to be fit just to your needs. We've got multiple different models and sizes, from something as small as a set to something as large as a raw, open loop cooling, closed loop cooling, and you don't have to be an expert to use it. So if, say, that you choose a motherboard that's a DDR5 motherboard and you chose DDR4 RAM, that little yellow button's going to be like, hi there, this is a problem. So it's going to give you the option of either choosing your DDR5 RAM or a RAM that works with that board, or choosing a board that works with the RAM you selected. Once that's done, you solve the problem, and that turns right back to green. And then you can continue on. Now, there are many different options you can get on our site. You can choose to get your system overclocked, GPU or CPU, open loop cooling, closed loop cooling, multiple different drives. It's lots of options. Plus, we have an accessories area that has basically everything you could possibly need, from t-shirts and windbreakers like this to streaming gear. Let's talk about that, because if you want to know a little bit more about the Beacon products that are coming with the bundle, then we've got the Beacon Mix Create and the Beacon Mic Mix Create bundle. This is great. It's a USB-C dynamic microphone, and it is a touchscreen, dial-based. Look at that. It allows you to control what your stream hears and controls how loud you hear things. And you can have 2 independent levels from one another so that it's not an issue. It's a truly wonderful thing. From routers to microphones, headsets, controllers, we've got it all. Now, if you don't happen to have the interest in building your own system, we have dozens of different kind of ready-to-ship or RTS models sitting, tested, waiting for a brand new home, and who knows, it could be yours. And don't worry, if it's not exactly the right layout that you want, you can tweak and adjust some of the things in there, say in case you want to double your RAM up, or you want to change out some of the cooling, or make it a larger AIO. All of that you can do right here from our website. So for all of your future PC needs, check it out. It's clxgaming.com. Now, one thing to point out that I mentioned, because we always want to talk about this. This is one of the best features. I saw that.
Almost.
Is, Paul, I want you to tell everybody where these go once they're built.
Yeah, so every machine we do here, whether it's customer build, the giveaway one in the back, once we get them built and powered on, they go to testing and integration. And that's where the first thing we do there is get into the BIOS. We'll make sure our RAM speed's set correctly. All of our storage devices are showing up. So M.2s, hard drives, SSDs, all that good stuff. And then from there, There might be a couple other settings in the BIOS that we touch depending on the build, but after that is when we actually load the machine. So we'll load the operating system. If you picked any games on our website, that's where we'll load that at. If you didn't pick any games and you just picked an operating system, then that's all we install. So
No bloatware.
no bloatware at all. You won't get your PC with a whole bunch of different antivirus softwares or anything like that. Just a fresh, clean install.
No Bing search bars on the desktop.
Yeah, exactly. So,
God.
yep. So, and then after that, once the system's loaded, we stress test the system for 12 hours. So the main program we use for that is 3D Mark, which is like a benchmarking software. There's a couple others that we may use depending on the configuration, but that's the main one. And what that does is allow us to run the system through its paces. Typically, if a component's bad from the factory, it's going to break in that first intense session. And so that makes sure that everything is stable and you don't run into any issues at home.
Frame Gaming asks, do you have a whole stream decks? I believe we carry stream decks.
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
website.
we do. Yeah, we've got all the
Yep.
different sizes too, from the small 6-button one and the 2 higher ones as well.
Speaking of size, let's talk about size, because sometimes size does matter. And for this one, it is 200 people are getting 100 extra entries into the giveaway right now. It's Horus-UV7U Ultraviolet 7 University. There we go. Can I request Windows 10 with an order?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yep, and we
Yeah.
kind of switched over to our default being Windows 11, but yep, if you order one, you can still get Windows 10.
For now.
Yes.
For now. That will go away at some point, but for now you can.
Andres Montilla, welcome. Hello. And Jeff, you should have entries taken away just for mentioning Windows ME.
We will not load Windows ME on your machine.
What about Windows 8?
No.
Oh God. I don't know which is worse, 8 Vista or
I
Millennium.
think 8 is
Oh, the site, yeah.
the worst.
Alrighty, well,
Good
we are ready to turn this thing on.
It's the moment of truth. All right, let's check it out. Oop.
Haha, it was flipped off.
We're professionals, we promise. There we go. Woo! Look at that. She's pretty.
Very
so
nice.
pretty. I dig it. That is going to be an absolutely incredible build. So let's once again go over everything that's inside this amazing build for Alicia in New York. This is a CLX Raw 011D XL Black chassis. It has an Intel Core i7 14700KF processor mounted on an ASRock Z690 Phantom Gaming 4 DDR5 motherboard. For memory, we've got 32 gigs of crucial DDR5 4800 RAM plus an NVIDIA RTX 4070 12 gig graphics card. The operating system is stored on a 1 terabyte ADATA 700 gold NVMe M.2, and of course the CPU is going to be cooled by the CLX Quench 360 AIO closed loop liquid cooler. We've got 10 GameDeus Aeolus M2 fans, and the whole thing is powered by a 750 watt GameDeus Kratos M1 80 plus bronze RGB power supply. Nice. That is awesome. Looks good. Those fans are always just like, the fans do so much.
They
I
look
dig
great.
it.
They really do.
I just wish I could take the green out of the rotation for mine so that I could just let it spin in colors and it wouldn't go against my
hit the green
chroma key,
screen.
but yeah,
Yeah.
You
I know,
technically
right? I have to
can.
edit.
You just have to.
Technically,
Yeah, you just have to
yeah, create,
create a profile.
Armory
on
crate it.
Armory crate.
yeah. All right. So, of course, as you know, this show happens in 2 different parts, and a few are going to take a break. When we come back, you're going to spend the afternoon with Hayden as Hayden continues to build some really amazing machines. Now, this show happens every Tuesday and Thursday, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific. It is all, we do multi-stream, but Tuesdays our focus is over on the green side. Thursdays our focus is here on the purple side, and we're excited because this is the last day that you can get codes for the giveaway. Now, I've got codes that are going to be coming in a little bit later this afternoon on my stream, so you will definitely want to tune into that after this show is over. So other than that, yeah, to stay up to date on everything that's going on with CLX Gaming, you can check us out on our social medias. That is YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. You can also pop into a Discord with a bunch of like-minded gamers and PC enthusiasts, and that's discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Our YouTube, our CLX channel on Twitch is CLX Gaming TV. On Kick, it's CLX Gaming. And with that being said, good luck to everybody, and I'm excited to see who's going to walk away with this amazing PC giveaway this month. So that'll be announced on Tuesday's show. Up to Tuesday's show, we're excited. We're just as amped as you are to see who's going to win this. So on behalf of Jason and Kyle in production, Hayden and Paul, I'm DJ Blue PDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up in just a few. We'll be right back.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.